The cool metal of the desk bit into Sarah's palms as she leaned forward, her voice dropping to a whisper. "You're my boss, we shouldn't do this," Marcus said, his eyes darting toward the framed photo of his daughter on his desk. Sarah's fingers brushed against his wrist, sending electricity through his body as she replied, "You're so damn hot, but that's not why I hired you." Their eyes locked, the office suddenly too small, too warm, as years of professionalism threatened to crumble under the weight of something neither had planned for. Marcus Sullivan never expected to find himself in this position. At 34, his life revolved around two things: his 7-year-old daughter Emma and rebuilding his career after his divorce 3 years ago. Taking the senior graphic designer position at Horizon Creative had been a godsend: flexible hours, good pay, and a 5-minute drive from Emma's school. Perfect for a single dad juggling too many responsibilities. Sarah Chen had built Horizon Creative from nothing. At 36, she was everything the design world respected: innovative, decisive, and known for her impeccable professional boundaries. The company was her baby, her life's work. Office relationships were explicitly against company policy, a rule she'd written herself. Their professional relationship had always been smooth. Marcus appreciated Sarah's direct management style, her clear expectations, and most importantly, her understanding when Emma's school called or childcare fell through. In return, Sarah valued Marcus's talent, dedication, and the fresh perspective he brought to the team. Neither expected the late night when everything changed. The Kimura account was their biggest opportunity of the year, a contract that would put Horizon on the national map. The entire team had been working overtime for weeks, but tonight it was just the two of them, finishing the presentation for tomorrow's meeting. "I think we're finally done," Marcus said, rubbing his tired eyes. The office was dark except for the glow of their monitors, the rest of the team long gone. Sarah stretched in her chair. "Send Emma's babysitter my apologies. And my credit card number." Marcus laughed. "My sister's watching her tonight, but I'm sure she'd appreciate the thought." He checked his watch, 11:30 p.m. "I should get home." "Wait," Sarah said, opening her desk drawer. She pulled out a bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses. "One celebratory drink?" "We've earned it." One drink became 2 as they moved to the small sofa in her office, their conversation shifting from the Kimura presentation to stories about college, first jobs, dreams once held and abandoned. "So how does a talent like you end up in my little company?" Sarah asked, tucking her legs beneath her, shoes long discarded. Marcus swirled the amber liquid in his glass. "Life takes unexpected turns. I was at Gregson and Partners in Chicago before Emma was born. Fast track, big accounts. I know Gregson. Impressive place." "It was. Then my ex-wife decided she wasn't cut out for motherhood when Emma was 3. His voice grew quieter. "Left us both a note on the kitchen counter and moved to France with her yoga instructor." Sarah's professional mask slipped. "That's awful." It was. But honestly, after the shock wore off, it was a relief. Marrying Heather was, let's just say we both made that decision for the wrong reasons. He shrugged. "I stepped back from Gregson to give Emma stability, took freelance work, then decided to move here for a fresh start." "She's lucky to have you," Sarah said softly. "I'm the lucky one. She's the best thing in my life." He smiled, then turned the question back to her. "What about you? Horizon is incredible, but you could be running a design division at any major firm." Sarah's expression changed, vulnerability flickering across her face. "Freedom. Creative control. Building something that's entirely mine." She paused. "And after what happened at my last firm, I needed to create a place where talent matters more than playing politics or fighting off unwanted advances." The air between them shifted as Marcus realized she was sharing something deeply personal. "What happened?" he asked gently. "The classic cliché. I was the rising star, he was the married creative director. After I rejected him, suddenly my work wasn't innovative enough. Her jaw tightened. That's why Horizon has such strict policies about workplace relationships. They're messy, unprofessional, and someone always gets hurt. Marcus nodded slowly. Makes sense. Their eyes met, and the conversation stalled. In the silence, Marcus became acutely aware of how close they were sitting, of the faint scent of her perfume, of how the usual professional distance between them had dissolved. I should go, he said, setting down his glass and standing abruptly. Sarah stood too. Of course. It's late. As they gathered their things, their hands brushed reaching for the same folder. Marcus felt it then, the unmistakable charge of attraction that had been building for months beneath their professional interactions. Sarah must have felt it too because she stepped back quickly. Marcus. I know. I'm sorry. You're my boss, we shouldn't. You're so damn hot, she said suddenly, then laughed at her own bluntness. But that's not why I hired you, and it has nothing to do with how much I respect your work. The confession hung in the air between them. Sarah, No, don't say anything, she interrupted. This conversation never happened. We've both worked too hard to risk everything over, whatever this is. She straightened her shoulders, rebuilding her professional armor. Tomorrow we nail the Kimura presentation, and we forget about tonight. Marcus nodded, ignoring the pull in his chest. Absolutely. Professional boundaries matter to me too. They parted with an awkward goodbye, both knowing something fundamental had shifted despite their words. The Kimura presentation was a triumph. As weeks passed, Marcus and Sarah maintained a careful, professional distance. If team members noticed the new tension between them, nobody mentioned it. The attraction didn't fade. Instead, it grew, complicated by their genuine admiration for each other's work and character. Marcus found himself noticing everything about her, the way she challenged clients to be bolder, how she defended her team's creative vision, the rare moments when her professional facade softened around Emma on the few occasions they'd crossed paths. One evening, Marcus was working late when Sarah appeared in his doorway. The Wilson portfolio looks good, she said, keeping her distance. Thanks. Just finishing now. She hesitated. Marcus, I think we need to talk about what's happening here. He saved his work and turned to face her. Nothing's happening. We're being professionals, like we agreed. Are we? Because I find myself looking forward to our meetings too much. Creating reasons for project check-ins. That's not normal for me. The admission cracked his resolve. I'm not sure what you want me to say. I don't know either. She stepped into his office, closing the door. I've built this company on certain principles. I can't compromise them, not even for. For what? He challenged softly. For feelings I shouldn't have for someone who reports to me. The words hung between them, honest and frightening. Marcus stood, maintaining distance between them. Sarah, I have to think about Emma first. This job, the flexibility, the security, it's what makes me a good father to her. I can't risk that. I would never let this affect your position here, she said firmly. Maybe not intentionally. But workplace relationships get complicated. You said it yourself, someone always gets hurt. She nodded, her expression conflicted. So where does that leave us? Being professionals. Keeping boundaries. Ignoring whatever this is until it passes. They both knew it was the right answer, even as something in their expressions betrayed how difficult it would be. 3 months of strained professionalism followed. The tension affected their work, not in quality, but in the cautious way they interacted, second-guessing every conversation, every feedback session, every accidental touch when passing documents. The breaking point came during a company retreat. The team was celebrating winning the industry's most prestigious design award for the Kimura campaign. After the formal dinner, most of the team continued celebrating at the hotel bar, but Marcus slipped away to video call Emma before her bedtime. He was sitting on a bench in the hotel's garden, smiling at his daughter's excited recounting of her day at his sister's house, when Sarah walked past. She hesitated, clearly not wanting to intrude, but Emma spotted her on the screen. "Is that Miss Sarah? Can I say hi?" "Please, Daddy." Marcus hesitated, then waved Sarah over. "Emma wants to say hello, if you don't mind." Sarah sat beside him, careful to maintain space between them. "Hi Emma. How's my favorite junior designer?" Emma beamed. "I made a picture for Daddy's office. With glitter." "Glitter is very in this season," Sarah said seriously. "Your dad will have the most stylish office at Horizon." They chatted briefly before Emma yawned, prompting goodnight kisses and promises from Marcus to call again tomorrow. As he ended the call, the silence between them felt different, warmer, filled with unspoken understanding. "She's amazing," Sarah said softly. "She's everything." Marcus put his phone away. "You're great with her, you know. Most people talk down to kids, but you never do. My parents did that to me. I hated it." She turned slightly toward him. "Marcus, I've been thinking, maybe there's a solution we haven't considered." "What kind of solution?" "What if you didn't report to me directly? Jennifer is ready for more responsibility. She could take over as creative director, and you would report to her instead of me." Marcus considered this. "Wouldn't that be obvious to everyone? That we're restructuring the company just to, what exactly? Date? I don't know what this is either," she admitted. "But I do know that Jennifer deserves the promotion regardless, and this tension between us is affecting the whole team. So you'd change your company's structure, go against your own policies." "Not against them. Amending them. Thoughtfully. With transparency about the reporting relationships." She looked at him directly. "I'm not suggesting we rush into anything. Just that we create the space to see if there's something here worth exploring, without the professional complications." He was quiet for a long moment. "I need to think about it. About what's best for Emma." "I understand." She stood. "For what it's worth, I think what's best for Emma is a father who's happy, not just one who's making responsible sacrifices." Marcus spent the next week weighing his options. He discussed it hypothetically with his sister Kate, who knew him better than anyone. "You haven't shown interest in anyone since the divorce," she observed. "If you're even considering risking a job you love for this woman, she must be pretty special." "She is," he admitted. "But Emma has a father who's taught her that integrity matters, that rules exist for good reasons, and that happiness matters too." Kate fixed him with a knowing look. "What lesson do you want to teach her now? That love is always too risky to pursue?" Her words stayed with him as he drove to Sarah's house that Sunday. She'd invited him for brunch, neutral territory, outside work hours, to discuss their situation. Sarah's home surprised him. He'd expected sleek minimalism like her office, but instead found a cozy craftsman filled with art, books, and warmth. She greeted him at the door in jeans and a simple sweater, looking both familiar and entirely new. Over coffee and homemade waffles, they discussed Jennifer's promotion, the amended company policies, and the careful path forward they might take. "I've never done anything like this," Sarah admitted. "Changed policies I believe in for personal reasons." "Is that what you're doing?" Marcus asked. "Or are you recognizing that good policies can still evolve as circumstances change?" "That's a generous interpretation. Or a realistic one." He set down his coffee. "Sarah, before we decide anything, I need you to understand something. Emma isn't just part of my life, she is my life. Anyone I date becomes part of her world too, eventually. I know. Do you? Because if we try this and it doesn't work out, it's not just awkward meetings and office tension. It's explaining to a 7-year-old why someone she's grown attached to isn't coming around anymore. Sarah reached across the table, her fingers lightly touching his. I understand the stakes, Marcus. I'm not taking this lightly. He looked at her hand on his. I haven't dated anyone seriously since the divorce. Haven't wanted to. And now? Now I can't stop thinking about what might be possible, even with all the complications. He turned his hand to hold hers properly. So maybe we try this. Carefully. Slowly. With clear boundaries between work and, whatever this becomes. Her smile then was different from any he'd seen before, hopeful, genuine, unguarded. They moved forward deliberately. Jennifer's promotion was announced based on her merits, which were substantial and deserved recognition regardless. 2 weeks later, the updated company relationship policy was shared, still discouraging direct reporting relationships but creating ethical frameworks for disclosed relationships with appropriate management adjustments. Marcus and Sarah began dating discreetly, careful to maintain professionalism at work while exploring their connection outside the office. Their first official date was dinner at a small restaurant outside the city, where they talked for hours without the constraints of their professional roles. Sarah shared more about her past, growing up as the daughter of demanding immigrants who viewed creativity as an indulgence rather than a career, fighting for recognition in a male-dominated industry, building Horizon from scratch after leaving a toxic workplace. Marcus told her about his childhood dreams of becoming an artist, his detour into corporate design for financial stability, the whirlwind relationship with Emma's mother, and the terrifying, exhilarating journey of becoming a single father. I was so angry at first, he admitted. Not just at Heather for leaving, but at myself for choosing someone who could walk away from her own child. You couldn't have known, Sarah said. Maybe. But Emma deserved better. He smiled sadly. The irony is, we're probably better off. Heather wasn't happy, and Emma would have grown up sensing that. Now she has one parent who adores her instead of two who were slowly destroying each other. Sarah reached for his hand across the table. You're a good father, Marcus. Emma is lucky. I'm trying to be, he said. Which is why we need to take this slow. Really slow. She nodded. I agree. Too much is at stake for both of us. Their relationship developed gradually over the following months. They maintained strict professionalism at work, while growing closer during evenings and weekends. Sarah began joining Marcus and Emma for occasional outings, a trip to the Science Museum, Sunday afternoon in the park, movie nights with homemade popcorn. Emma, initially shy around Sarah, gradually warmed to her, especially when she discovered Sarah could draw even better than Daddy. Sarah was careful not to overreach, letting Emma set the pace of their relationship while developing genuine affection for the bright, sensitive child. The first challenge came 3 months in, when the staff holiday party created their first semi-public appearance together. Though their relationship wasn't a secret, they'd followed company protocol with HR, they'd been discreet around colleagues. Everyone's going to be watching us, Marcus said as they arrived separately. Let them, Sarah replied. We have nothing to hide. The evening progressed smoothly until Marcus overheard 2 employees whispering by the bar. Sleeping with the boss. Wonder if that's how he got the Fujimoto account. Marcus froze, the comment striking deeper than expected. Sarah found him minutes later on the terrace, staring into the darkness. What happened? She asked. Nothing. Just needed some air. She studied his face. Marcus. Talk to me. He sighed, repeating what he'd overheard. Sarah's expression hardened. That's exactly what I was afraid of, he said. Not the gossip, I can handle that. But the implication that my work, my talent, isn't the reason for my success. He ran a hand through his hair. I've worked too hard to have people think I'm sleeping my way to the top. No one who matters thinks that, Sarah said firmly. Your work speaks for itself. Does it? Because right now, it seems like our relationship is speaking louder. She was quiet for a moment. What do you want to do? I don't know. The frustration in his voice was evident. Maybe this was a mistake. Do you believe that? She challenged softly. Because if you do, we should end it now, before we're in any deeper. The question hung between them. Finally, Marcus shook his head. No. I don't believe it's a mistake. But it's harder than I expected, navigating these worlds. She stepped closer, touching his arm. Then we figure it out. Together. The incident became a turning point. They realized that handling workplace perceptions would require ongoing effort and transparency. Sarah addressed the situation directly, gathering the creative team and acknowledging the relationship while reaffirming that all project assignments and account decisions were made based on skill and fit, as they always had been. I've built this company on merit, she told them. That hasn't changed and it won't change. If anyone feels assignments aren't being distributed fairly, my door is always open. Her directness diffused much of the tension, though Marcus still felt occasional discomfort when colleagues gave knowing looks or made subtle comments. He channeled that discomfort into his work, producing some of his best designs for the spring campaign season. 6 months into their relationship, Sarah was offered a prestigious industry award that required attending a gala in New York. She asked Marcus to accompany her. As my date, not my colleague, she clarified. This would be public. Industry people. Former colleagues. Including your ex-boss? Marcus asked, knowing her history. She nodded. Probably. Then definitely yes. I'll be there. The evening of the gala, watching Sarah accept her award with grace and deliver a powerful speech about creativity and ethics in design, Marcus realized how deeply his feelings for her had grown. Later, when her former boss approached them, offering backhanded compliments with predatory eyes, Marcus stood firmly beside her, his hand steady at the small of her back as she responded with professional poise and steel beneath her smile. Thank you for being there, she said in their hotel room afterward. For understanding why that mattered. Always, he replied simply. That night, surrounded by the glittering New York skyline visible through their window, their relationship deepened. For the first time, they both spoke of love, not just attraction or compatibility, but something more profound. Their first significant conflict came unexpectedly, a year into their relationship. Horizon had the opportunity to pitch for a major international client, an account that would transform the company's future. The catch was that it would require extensive travel for the lead designer. You're the obvious choice, Sarah told Marcus during a strategy meeting. Your portfolio aligns perfectly with their aesthetic. He stiffened. You know I can't travel extensively. Emma. It would be 6 trips over 4 months. We could work around Emma's school schedule, maybe your sister could. No, he interrupted firmly. I can't be away that much. Single parent, remember? The meeting ended tensely, with Sarah assigning the project to another designer. Later that evening, at his home, the conversation continued. You could have discussed it with me privately first, Marcus said, his voice tight. Instead of putting me in that position publicly. I was approaching it professionally, Sarah countered. As your CEO, not your girlfriend. And that's the problem. Sometimes those roles conflict. So what am I supposed to do? Not offer you opportunities because we're dating? That hurts your career too. Marcus paced the living room. You know my situation. Travel has always been limited for me. That's not new. I know, she conceded. Sometimes I worry that your career is being limited because of me, because of us. The real issue surfaced. Sarah feared she was holding him back professionally, while Marcus worried she couldn't fully accept the limitations his parenthood placed on his career choices. My priorities are clear, he said finally. Emma first. Always. My career matters, but it's not everything. Sarah was quiet for a long moment. Sometimes I wonder if you resent me for having different priorities. For putting Horizon first. I don't, he said honestly. I admire your dedication. Your vision. But our lives are different. Can they work together long-term, though, she asked, the question they'd both been avoiding. Really work? The silence that followed was heavy with uncertainty. Emma's voice broke the tension as she appeared in her pajamas. Daddy? I had a bad dream. The adult conversation paused as Marcus comforted his daughter. Sarah watched them together, his gentle reassurance, Emma's complete trust in her father's protection, and something shifted in her expression. After Emma was settled back in bed, Sarah spoke softly. I've been thinking about this wrong. What do you mean? I've been seeing your commitment to Emma as a limitation. It's not. It's the best part of who you are. She moved closer to him. And it doesn't conflict with your talent or your career. It just means we need different solutions. They spent the night talking through possibilities, restructuring the international project to minimize travel, leveraging video technology for client meetings, creating a more flexible role that honored both his talent and his family commitments. We can find the middle ground, Sarah said. If we're both willing to be creative about it. As their second year together began, the balance they'd found was tested again when Sarah received an offer to merge Horizon with a larger agency, a deal that would provide financial security and growth opportunities, but would mean surrendering some of her autonomy and relocating to the company's headquarters in Chicago. It's a compelling offer, she admitted during a weekend at the lake house they'd rented for Emma's spring break. Emma was asleep, and they sat on the deck beneath the stars, discussing the possibility. It sounds like it, Marcus agreed. The question is whether it aligns with your vision for Horizon. That's the thing. My vision has evolved. She turned to face him. 2 years ago, Horizon was everything to me. My entire identity. Now there's you. And Emma. And I'm finding that success looks different than I imagined. Marcus took her hand. I don't want you to compromise your dreams for us. I'm not. I'm expanding them. She smiled softly. But Chicago would mean asking you to uproot Emma's life. I won't do that. If you really wanted this, we could discuss it, he offered. Emma's adaptable. More than we sometimes give her credit for. I know. But the thing is, I don't want it enough to disrupt what we've built here. She squeezed his hand. What I want is to grow Horizon my way, with you beside me, with weekends like this, with Emma's school plays and messy art projects on my refrigerator. Marcus studied her face in the moonlight. Are you sure? This is a significant opportunity. I'm sure that some opportunities matter more than others. She leaned against his shoulder. 2 years ago, I would have jumped at this deal. Now I have different priorities. I never wanted to change your dreams, he said quietly. You didn't. You just helped me realize which ones matter most. Emma's 9th birthday party was in full swing in the backyard of the home Marcus and Sarah now shared. 2 years and 3 months into their relationship, they had created a life together that balanced careers, family, and their relationship with careful intention. Sarah watched from the kitchen window as Marcus helped Emma and her friends build elaborate structures from cardboard boxes, a project that combined his design skills with childish imagination. His face was alight with joy, paint smudged on his cheek, completely present in the moment. He's something special, Jennifer said, joining Sarah with a tray of cupcakes. He is, Sarah agreed, adding candles to the birthday cake. You both are. The way you've navigated everything, it's been good for Horizon too, you know. Watching you prioritize ethics and balance. It's changed the company culture. Sarah smiled. That wasn't intentional, but I'm glad. Sometimes the best leadership happens by example. Outside, Emma spotted Sarah in the window and waved excitedly, pointing to their cardboard city. Sarah gave her a thumbs up, her heart full at the child's easy affection. Later that night, as they sealed the moment with a kiss, the challenges they'd overcome and those still to come seemed manageable, even welcome, part of the complex, beautiful life they were creating together. In the years that followed, Horizon Creative continued to flourish under Sarah's leadership, with Marcus eventually becoming a partner rather than an employee, a change that resolved the last of their professional complications. Emma grew into a teenager with artistic talent inherited from her father and business acumen learned from her stepmother. Their story became part of company lore, the cautionary tale that became a case study in how to navigate workplace relationships with integrity and care. The amended policies Sarah had created became a model adopted by other creative firms, recognizing that with proper boundaries and transparency, personal connections didn't have to compromise professional standards. Most importantly, they had built something neither had imagined possible, a family and a partnership where both careers and relationships could thrive, where compromise didn't mean sacrifice, and where love, complicated, challenging, worth fighting for love, had room to grow.